How's the defense look this week?
This week, we're getting better. We just finished practice 5 and saw a lot of improvement. Each day that we go out there, we're really stressing daily improvement, and I think we're making that.
You talk about the junior college transfers you got in the secondary?
Yeah, we got 2 of them back there, TQ Coleman, Ty Quentin Coleman, and Carroll Washington are 2 guys back there in the secondary that came in here in January, and a good thing they did. You know, anytime those guys can get here early, it's obviously an advantage for them. Been really happy with those 2 guys. Those guys have been great students of the game. Honestly, they probably study the game more than anybody else that we've got on defense right now. They're in here all the time, working nonstop to get better, and I really like their attitude, and they're very coachable, and they've been doing a good job for us.
What's going on at linebacker right now? Just who all's in the mix?
All of them. All of them. Every position right now, it's NFL draft day, and we're evaluating everybody every single day. The depth chart is a work in progress. It continually changes from one day to the next, whether a guy goes from 1s to 2s, from Sam, Mike, or Will. You know, we're just trying to find the best mix of guys that give us an opportunity to win on Saturdays. And it's not necessarily about talent, where they're from, what they've done in the past. It's really about guys that we can trust to be in the right spots consistently, and it's going to be a work in progress all the way up to the game time, you know, to be quite honest with you. And I like what I've seen from the improvement of the group, but to call out any individuals or say, you know, we're a finished product, you know, we're a long way from that.
How's Tavares looked at linebacker Mike?
Mike has done a lot of good things. You know, another junior college kid that came here early. He's got a long way to go in terms of understanding the fundamentals of defense and how to play linebacker at this level in a league like this. But you know what? Mike's like the other 2 guys. He's very coachable. He comes in wanting to be coached every single day. He's learning. He's getting better. He's really learning how to use his hands and play with his knees bent and good pad level. And he's getting better because of it. But he's got a long way to go.
How have some of the ones like Byron Jones and Chris Smith, the older players, adjusted to the new schemes and new things you're doing?
Well, those guys, I think, are all talented players. They're leaders. They've played a lot of football around here. Those guys have done a great job. You know, when you look at the strength of just the whole football team, you'd probably point out the defensive line is probably going to be one of the strongest position groups on the football team. And I've really liked the way those guys worked, and I think they got a chance to be playmakers for us.
What about your group, the safeties? How have they been doing? And also, Davion McKinney, has he moved to safety? I know Coach Bielema mentioned he might.
Yeah, to answer the first part of the question, you know, the safeties overall I've been really happy with. You know, I can't hide it. You know, a lot of people talked about the deficiencies at the safety position when we got here, but I've been very pleased with those guys. Rohan Gaines and Eric Benner are 2 guys that played a lot last year. They've done a nice job. You know, finally going to be able to scrimmage a little bit on Saturday. We're going to find out how they tackle and how they do in live situations. But we talk constantly about the safeties being the generals of the defense and being able to communicate, being able to adjust and get guys in the right spots. And they have done an outstanding job of that so far through the first 5 practices. You talk about Davion McKinney. He's a guy that we're just trying to evaluate where he can fit in and help us. You know, he's been at corner. He's a great-looking kid. He's got good height, long arms, long legs. He can run. He's a physical kid. You know, we're trying to see if he can help us at safety or at corner, and we've had him at safety for the past couple days, and he's done a nice job. Is he going to stay there? I don't know. We will put him there to try to see what he would do for a few days, and he'll stay there for now.
I was curious also about one other player, a younger player, Devontae Lowe. What are your initial impressions of him?
Well, right now, Devontae is not with us. Yeah. That's something you'd have to talk with Coach Bielema.
2 freshman linebackers who played a lot last year, Turner and Otha Peters. Can you talk about their progress and how they're fitting in for you right now?
Well, same as everybody else. You know, they're making progress, a long way to go. You know, I think the growing pains that they went through last year as young guys out there on the field in the SEC, honestly, they had no business being out there, but they were because of the situation. And I think it's made them better players today because of what they went through last year. I mean, they're smarter. They understand concepts a lot more. They know how to communicate and get aligned. You know, still a long way to go, but I do like the improvement that they've made so far, and I do think the situation that they were forced into last year has helped them to this point. You know, everything, the same thing I'm looking for every day to go out there, you know, with the exception of guys being able to finish when they're in the right spots. we talk about things that we're really emphasizing here this spring defensively. One, if we're going to get better on defense, it's going to start with the effort that we play with. And every day we go out there, the number one thing that we're trying to coach and we're trying to critique and monitor is the effort, making sure we don't have any lows. Guys are playing with their hair on fire and running to the football, and we're getting better with that. The next part that we're looking for every day we go out there, both on Saturday and in normal practice, is our alignments. Are we getting aligned right consistently? And we have mental errors. If we don't beat ourselves with mental errors and misalignments, and we can play extremely hard and fast, we'll have a chance to win some games and be a lot better on defense. So now it's okay. We align right. We communicate. We're not making mental errors. We get in the right spot. Can we finish in live tackling situations?
Yesterday, 2 days ago, Coach Chaney mentioned change terminology, slow things down. How has that been for your side of the ball, and have you changed up that aspect, the language?
Well, I honestly can't comment on what they've done in the past and what the language was that was used here in the past. When we came here, we did very little looking back. Everything was moving forward, and we had a certain way we wanted to do things. We wanted to call formations, plays, coverages, fronts, whatever, certain ways, fundamentals, certain ways, and whether they're the same, they're different. I honestly couldn't tell you. I can tell you this: we've gone very slow with our installation on defense. For us, it's not going to be about volume here this spring. It's going to be about teaching and learning. We want these guys, when they come out of spring, to be good at something, and we want that to be fundamentals and mental understanding of what we're trying to get done. And then once we start that and have a base, then we can start to build on that foundation. That's really what we're trying to get done here this spring. But we've been very slow with our installation, really trying to get the guys to understand the concepts, get on the same page with terminology, and be able to get aligned, and then we'll build on the scheme part of it from there.
How have they been able to grasp that?
Honestly, outstanding. When we first started with spring practice, really had no idea what to expect because we hadn't been with these guys very much. We had very limited time to do anything with them football-wise, and didn't know what we would get on day one. And I was very happy with what we saw from day one, day two, day three. We had the break for spring break. We came back, and the 2 practices so far have been productive out there.
How's it been working with the new coaches? Tabor, I guess, would be new to you, and Randy Shannon.
Outstanding. I thank Coach Bielema for the staff that he's helped to put together on defense. Coach Partridge and I, this is our 4th school of working together, so we know each other very well. We know the scheme and what the expectations are from both the front and the back end of it. And for me, as a DB guy, I want a great linebacker coach. And when our linebacker coach from Wisconsin did not come down here, Andy Boo, we went out on a search to try to find the best linebacker coach that we could find, and Randy Shannon was that guy. A lot of people think he's here because of his past and being the head coach at the University of Miami and a D coordinator and all that. That stuff's great, but I wanted Randy Shannon because he's a great teacher, and his principles and beliefs on how to coach and teach linebackers fit with what we wanted with our scheme, and that's why he's here, and he's done a great job with those guys. He's a great coach, great teacher, great mentor for those young linebackers at that position. And then Tabor was a great guy to retain, a guy that had a lot of success in previous coaching stops, and a guy that knew the program, knew the players here, making a position change to coach corners. It's something he's done in the past, and been very happy and very pleased with the defensive staff and the way we've worked together so far.
Who's stepping up and being vocal in the huddles for you guys?
Honestly, we don't huddle on defense. So in this day and age in college football, you play against so much tempo, hurry-up type of offenses, and huddling anymore on defense is kind of a dying thing, so we don't huddle. And honestly, it kind of hurts because you don't have that old traditional Mike linebacker that would call everybody up and get everybody going. So we're kind of leading between plays as coaches, and a lot of the older guys, your defensive linemen that have played here before, a couple of the safeties that have played are really probably the more vocal leaders, but we just don't huddle.
What's been 5 days, your assessment of talent?
We've got some very talented players. We've got some deficiencies at some spots too. I haven't coached in the SEC. I've coached in the Big 12 and in the Big 10, and I only know what I know from previous stops. And we've got some players that could play anywhere in the country. We've got some guys that got a long way to go from a talent standpoint. But for us, honestly, we're not going to make excuses for anything like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can make up for lack of talent. And again, it gets back to what I talked about earlier. The number one thing we're looking for is effort and guys that will compete. You know, we coached some guys at Wisconsin that, you know, people might say could not play anywhere, but I'll tell you what, they would compete with anybody. And that's the message we're trying to get across to these guys. You may be talented, but if you don't compete, you're not going to be successful. You may not be as talented as somebody else, but if you compete extremely hard, then you're going to have a chance to be successful.